take the administration. A seasoned journalist, a former special advisor to the Benue State Governor on Media and Publicity, and of course a one-time Chief Press Secretary to a former governor of the state. Mr. Terver Akase is our guest on Perspectives this morning. Good to have you join us, Mr. Akase. Welcome to Perspectives.
Thank you very much, Nat, and I'm happy to be here.
Also with us on the program is a public affairs commentator who is a former special advisor on NEPAD and international relations to the Benue State Governor. And of course, he is a farmer, a seasoned economic analyst, Mr. Sam Agwa. Welcome to Agate Radio, Mr. Agwa. Good to have you join us.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Dear listener, thank you very much for finding time to join us on this edition. And if you are tuning in for the first time, kindly be informed that Perspectives is audience participatory, usually broadcast from 9 to 11 a.m., Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And you can call in later at 10 o'clock on 0814-335-9292, 0814-335-9292. In the meantime, the line for SMS is also available, and it will be activated soon as we begin the conversation. That line is 0912-699-9404, 0912-699-9404. It is also available on WhatsApp. Log onto our website on www.agateradio.tv.com to listen to us and access other contents of Agate Radio. You may download the Agate Radio and TV app from Google Play Store, a one-stop app that serves you to listen to the radio, watch the television, as well as read the newspaper. You can find us on Radio Garden and on social media platforms where this program is also streaming. We will take a short break, and once we are back, our discussion will begin. Kindly stay tuned. Dear listener, we'll be back. Come back from that. It's already stated that the cabinet reshuffle is as a result of feedback from Nigerians. Do you believe this to be true?
Well, I don't know what to think about this because feedback from Nigerians, in what sense exactly? Because yes, Nigerians have been, assessing the performance of the ministers. By the way, this is the largest cabinet ever in the history of this country. No president, whether military or civilian, has ever had 50 ministers. There are arguments that Nigeria is made up of over 200 million people, so 50 ministers are not too many. But I believe that if the decision of Mr. President was in line with the yearnings, the calls of Nigerians, then it would have been from a reduction level, the stage of reduction. He began with 45, 46 ministers, and today we have 50 ministers in about 33 ministries or so, with some senior ministers and the others ministers of state. So I am finding it difficult to agree that this move of I call it minor reshuffle, 5 ministers, and you are appointing 7 new ones. So it's difficult for me to agree that this was done in line with the yearnings of Nigerians. Nigerians were asking for better performance, yes, but also, if you ask me.
Okay, Mr. Agwa, let me have your take. Would you accept that the reshuffle in the cabinet is due to the yearnings of Nigerians, the feedback the presidency have gotten, as they have stated?
Well, it may be, feedback from Nigerians to some extent. Although incidentally, the feedback I think Nigerians are giving the president is not just a mere cabinet reshuffle, but that's another lane of the discussion. I think essentially when the president came on stream, they set up, I don't know whether it's an app, but there was this office that set up some template where they say they will be measuring performances. I have never seen the template though, but I know there is a special office coordinating that, where feedbacks are taken, where a lot of conversations go on towards trying to see who is doing well, who is not doing well. I am not aware if Nigerians, maybe like typically we go on the media and sometimes we vote or we take some decisions. But to say entirely it may not be because of feedback, I don't know. But if it is feedback in itself, I think the rationale in hacking down some and leaving others still remains a bit doubtful, because significantly a lot of things interplay. There are some ministries by nature of their operation that puts them in some tight corner. For instance, let's look at Ministry of Sports. You know, for some time Nigeria has not done well in sports. So maybe it could be very easy, that template that was created, maybe a lot of Nigerians are responding to it, or a lot of high-level citizens are because everybody sees the sports, sees the performance of the national team and all that very easy. So to me, basically, a yes and no. I see the reshufflement more from a political and a bit of economic standpoint. Let's try to create some move to send a signal to Nigerians that, we are trying to rejig. At the same time, I am seeing a political dimension, which is, okay, let's start warming up. Because if you recall, President Tinubu came from day one. It's been lots of politics and politics and politics. So it's a mix, but in the various dosages, this could consummate, I may not know. Yes, feedback, but then, I don't want to mention names, but there are some ministers that I also think needed to have gone too. But maybe I fell in the category that maybe they didn't have so much votes or had less votes, I wouldn't know. But I believe the president that is also based on the assessment they did. But that is a very minute percentage in my opinion. I believe more that we want to send a signal, let's get some new guys to come on stream ahead of, because for me it's more political. Let me leave it at that.
Anyway, maybe you didn't send in your feedback on some of the ministers you felt could have also been reshuffled.
But with 200 million Nigerians, maybe if I sent, I lost election. I remember something about this feedbacking. For people like my colleague Terver Akase here, that are experienced media people, if I were Tinubu's minister, and actually it's on the basis of feedback, it's a matter of studying that template that the president gave, that Nigerians are feedbacking. Sit back, try to tailor how we get good feedbacks around maybe a way that could keep me in. That is why I agree partly. There's a very small percentage. The bulk of this is President Tinubu is rejigging economically and politically, more politically.
Okay. Mr. Akase, in your opinion, how does this cabinet reshuffle align with the president's vision for a renewed hope for Nigeria, maybe in line with his administration's mantra?
Well, if there is anything I would give to President Bola Tinubu, is his constant words of reassurance. At least Tinubu speaks to Nigerians a bit better than his predecessor, President Muhammadu Buhari, who would listen to a lot of cries and so on and not respond. To some extent, President Tinubu will tell you, look, I am aware of what is going on. I know that you, my people, are going through pains, and my administration is aware of this, and efforts are being made. That I give it to President Bola Tinubu. Those are the kind of words that, to some extent, don't think much to do with Obasanjo. faulting President Tinubu. There's a report like that, that he didn't come to the table, he didn't come to power with a clear-cut agenda, with a coherent agenda. But President Tinubu has said he has his renewed hope agenda. Whether this is going to impact positively on Nigerians is yet to be seen. But there are reforms going on. First, subsidy was removed, and more money has been made available to the federal government, to the states and local governments. That, whether we like it or not, money has come to the federal government more, the states and local governments. So those huge amounts, to what use they are being put, is the next thing Nigerians will be asking. How many of the projects, what programs is the federal government putting in place in the various sectors of the economy, in agriculture, in the economy in general, in science and tech, and so on? That perhaps people will argue that it's too early for us to begin to score Mr. President. But 1 year asked me. So, in essence, what I'm saying is, renews that hope. Yes, Mr. President came with this agenda. Now it remains to be seen how the policies transcend or translate into tangible products for Nigerians in terms of how Nigerians,
Okay, Mr. Agwa, let me also have your opinion. How you think this cabinet reshuffle align with the president's vision for a better Nigeria?
Well, let me commend Mr. President. I've said several times that in terms of the robustness of policy, the president has it. And like Terver just mentioned, how this policy translates into my stomach, gives me that good life, is what we are yearning. Even though, yes, there are indications here and there. For me, what the president has simply done is a plus and minus. On one hand, you are telling us you are cutting cost of governance. On another hand, you are trying to increase it. So it's like, do I say robbing Peter to pay Paul? Or exactly what? Because like I noted, that this is more political. Let me tell you something, more from experience, how I have followed developments as I move on in life. If you notice, the president is more politically conscious than economically conscious. This doesn't mean there are no moves he's not making in the economy, but he has these deft moves around the political realm of operation that supersedes even the economy. I see this reshuffle once again. I don't want to over-analyze here, but you see, for me, I see Mr. President trying to warm up ahead of 2027, and he's packaging a team that can either become governors or become, which is not wrong, he ought to do that. So, but to come and tell me the rejigging is to bring necessarily some new blood. The rejigging necessarily is about some template that, or some software of governance, and some people's scores have come less and that. What I think Mr. President owes us is the fact that clearly these three things that bite us, there may be more, but this agric energy and how we are able to move about, these things that bite us, there should be more actions. Because when you rejig and you bring in new persons to come and help you think, are you implying that overall there wasn't a sound thinking that we immediately begin to cut down the cost of electricity and we begin to feel immediately some impact here and there? So the rejigging, it's okay. Listen, Nat, these things, there's no one way to them. Certainly, yes, some new blood has come, some new energy is brought on board, and that we may tap from it. But basically, to me, it's just an issue of robbing Peter to pay Paul. Let me not dwell so much on that, because in a way, yes, new kids have come on, who will play in that space. They have come, according to Mr. President, from feedback from Nigerians. Maybe we don't need to maybe have some misgiving, but if the president keep insisting that it's because of feedback, we may subject him to publish the jam scores, the WAEC results. Anyway, that's just on the comedy side. To me, it's really nothing so spectacular. The day I will wake up and I'll start to feel more demonstrably that something is happening to me, inflation is trying to either be stable or is reduced, one kind of thing, I think I will find the regime meaningful.
Okay, Mr. Akase, listening to your co-panelist on the program, he mentioned that the president is more politically conscious than economically conscious in this reshuffling. Now, what are the potential consequences of this cabinet reshuffle on Nigeria's economic, social, and political landscape?
Well, the Constitution of Nigeria provides that each state must have representation in the cabinet, federal cabinet. And if you take that, then you have 36, 37, if you include Abuja must. I spoke about this the other day. If you have 37, and perhaps you add maybe 2, approximately, for me, a cabinet of Nigeria should be in the region of 40, 42. That's what Obasanjo had 40 when he was leaving office in 2007. He began with 33 or so, and by 2007 he had 40. Yaradua far less than that. Jonathan 36, and so on. So that's the way I look at it. Now, when Sam says the president is tilting towards the political lane more, I can't disagree, because of course he's in his first term and he has the right to contest for a second term, but that shouldn't becloud the need, the urgency to prioritize the economy and make life more meaningful for Nigerians. See, Sam talked about the difficulties that until the ordinary Nigerian begins to feel the positive impact of the policies, we may change ministers and bring new ones every other week. But if the policies do not change, and Nigerians are asking for very simple things. What are you doing about the prices of energy or petrol? Petroleum products, fuel. What are you doing about it? A liter of petrol now is about 1,300, 1,400, in some places 1,500 naira per liter. And the naira, as at this morning, the naira had fallen to 1,700 plus, to $1. Now, these things are affecting, it trickles down to the base, the basement. Because if the naira falls up there, then those who are importing products, we have to increase their prices, because VAT is going to. Now, yesterday I saw where the Minister of the Economy said they are going to increase value-added tax, that's VAT,
yes, on
luxury products, and that gradually they will reduce or even zero VAT on, products that are not so expensive. These commodities you can go to the market and get. But how soon is that going to happen? The implication of what the minister said is that big men will begin to pay more. Big men and women will begin to pay more in terms of taxation. And less privileged people, ordinary Nigerians, will pay less. Now, that is beautiful, but he didn't give a timeline to that. Because how long will you continue to say that? If you have a beautiful initiative of that nature, why not make the pronouncement and enact it? Why not, if it means legislating on it, so that it begins to happen immediately? Because if importation, if taxation, and the exchange rate keeps soaring. This has an effect on the local markets as well, because those who are importing, if you go to Urukum market now or high level and you go to a shop, maybe you want to pick electronics, the person who is selling is going to charge higher because these are imported products. So this has an impact on the economy overall. So I expect that rhetorics such as we are going to downsize, we are going to reduce the cost of the cost of products and so on, should not just be rhetorics. The government should implement such beautiful pronouncements as quickly as they can.
Okay, dear listener, if you are just tuning in, you are listening to Perspectives on Agate Radio 95.5 Star FM Makudi. We are discussing President Bola Tinubu's cabinet reshuffle, and I have here in the studio with me a seasoned journalist, a former special advisor to the Benue State Governor on Media and Publicity, a former Chief Press Secretary, Mr. Terver Akase, and also with us as a panelist is a public affairs commentator, a seasoned economic analyst, former special advisor on NEPAD and international relations to the Benue State Governor. Of course, he calls himself a farmer.
Yeah.
It's a Sam
Agwa.
It's a big farmer.
Yeah.
That's good. Anyway, but after all, Benue is a food basket of the nation, so it's glad that you are sustaining that status. At 10 o'clock, the line for calls will be activated for you to contribute on the program. The line is 0814-335-9292. 0814-335-9292. In the meantime, we have already activated the SMS line, which is also available for WhatsApp chat. Send us an SMS or a chat on WhatsApp to the line 0912-699-9404. 0912-699-9404. Kindly remember to include your full name and the location where you are sending your SMS from. Log onto our website on www.agateradio.tv.com to listen to us and access other content on that website as well. You may download the Agate Radio and TV app from Google Play Store, which serves you to listen to the radio, watch the television, as well as read the newspaper. A one-stop app that serves you for all days. You may find us on Radio Garden and on social media platforms where the program is also streaming. Mr. Agwa, you started this idea of the president being more politically conscious than economically conscious. This cabinet reshuffle, does it reflect any economic or social landscape policies that would define the Nigerian political system going forward?
You see, we have reached a level now that we give answers yes and no. Sometimes we are confused. Why I don't entirely buy that this may rejig anything substantial. I don't want to throw away the fact that some new ideas have not come, because it is possible maybe some kind of thinking that may impact policy could pull out of this. Let me premise on what Terver noted earlier. You are talking about increasing tax for the rich. Maybe rich people like Terver, maybe probably. Now, let's assume that Nigeria, that there are 10 people, there are 10 Nigerians, and 2 are rich, 8 are poor. That is, I'm relating the population of Nigeria as 10. Because if you look at what is happening, there are few rich people in Nigeria than there are poor people. I'm basing from the NBA statistics, where they told us some 130 million Nigerians are at various levels in multi-level poverty. And you know, they gave us this task before the subsidy removal. So if you want me to jack it up and I even add some 40 million, we should be saying 170 million. Now you are saying you will remove VAT. What is that percentage that VAT makes? Let's even assume VAT is 10%. What impact of removal of VAT on the products I consume as a poor man? What do you think really what will that translate to? Nothing big deal. Because remember, the naira I have in my pocket is not so much. Even when it is plenty, I go to the market, I come back very angry. I receive, for those that collect salary, they get their, what they call alert. They are very angry. Now you have removed something small, maybe a product 10 naira. You say I should now be paying 9 naira 50 kobo to purchase that product. Basically, you have not, well, on paper, there is a shift. If you draw the graphs, it will show you that something has shifted. But in practical reality, this is just like trying to, I have a very deep problem, I'm very hungry, I come and meet you, and all you could do is, you tell me that there's water there, now I should go and drink. Even water too is food. So if I take it, I may stabilize and that. You see, let me correct an impression. I am very much good with policy pronouncements of President Tinubu. I have no qualms about them. He's even taking actions, no qualms about that. He's giving us CNG buses, he's doing that, more money to states, more money to federal. Nobody is disputing all these facts. But the crux of it is, if you have a population of over 200 million, and the NBS is telling us well over 80% or thereabout of that population is not doing well, talking issues of VAT removal on consumable goods and stuff isn't a very striking policy to me. Well, I'm an optimist. Incidentally, let me shock you. I believe in Tinubu. I want my listeners to listen. Yes, I believe. But my problem has been going beyond what Terver called rhetorics. Because Tinubu is such a passionate fellow that he hosts you, he knows your problem, he knows you need a meal in the morning, a meal in the hour. He even tells you need this. That kind of, he's interactive. He has a lot of platforms and levels to engage with the citizens, to an extent that he has engaged with the citizens and they have advised him to even rejig his cabinet and drop some people and that and so on. The point is, and I want to stress this, when we are talking Tinubu at the macro level, let's not lose sight that we have 36 states in Nigeria. See, you may be living in a neighborhood of poor people, but you can choose to to lift up your family. You may choose to take certain precautions not to have malaria, but the rest of the people in the community or in that yard could be having malaria. I want to say it is possible micro level actions at the level of subnationals can impact too. Yes, overall it is that direction. The subnationals may say, yeah, we have no role to play in trying to make sure that the dollar improves or whatever. But imagine some 10, 12, 13, 14 subnationals activating productive processes, stepping into the economy to interfere with the macro that rules or lords over us. There will be some impact. So what I'm trying to say is, while rejigging is normal, and I would even like a situation where most states governments, even if they had softwares or templates that citizens relate to it, rejigging is normal. Sometimes you change a player who is even scoring goals, who is doing well. You can put him down and bring somebody who will come and never score a goal and that. President Tinubu shouldn't use this one in particular to over. His media people shouldn't be overstressing the fact that rejig try to bring. No, they are overstating what could be correct, but it's too insignificant. So we await and we hope. And like Terver mentioned, this issue of statements without timelines, this issue of statements without taking concrete steps. Because, for instance, why can't you even go beyond that VAT you're talking about and maybe try to bring something that, e.g., let me give a simple, is it too much to say senior citizens above 60 years should enjoy free health care? I'm just bringing, not exactly in this way, but a thought just came. There should be something that you drop that is big, something that people can begin to immediately see that, wow, something has dropped big. And then you begin to walk towards it, because I collect my pension as a senior citizen, for instance. Maybe I am on a pension of 100,000, 50,000, 30,000, depending on what I take. And I cannot manage my BP. I cannot manage my diabetes. I cannot manage rubbing some kind of balm on my ankles to walk well and stuff. Could there be ways? This is what I'm saying. It could apply to like what he's doing with the student loan program, which is good. You pay people's fees, because they may not be able. Those kind of interventions are more direct, and they speak to the issue more than broad statements of reduce VAT, reduce this, reduce. When that VAT, I'm not sure VAT in Nigeria has ever been more than 10% or thereabout. Just too small.
Well, Nat, before
yes.
you, let me add to what Agwa has just said. It has become fashionable in this country. This thing about cabinet reshuffle.
Yeah.
It has become like a ritual. Like, okay, after 1 year, after 2 years, some ministers or some commissioners at the state level may be dropped and new ones appointed. But it is not fashionable for people to resign. We don't have resignations. If you are appointed, for instance, and you find that your strength, your capacity is misplaced, perhaps, okay, now I am a trained communication person. I'm a journalist. I'm a media person. And you hire me and you take me to a Ministry of Solid Minerals. The contention is that, well, that is policy. So you don't necessarily need the cognate experience in that area, but it's not true. Someone who is competent in his own area of specialization will always do better in that area. Now, this is another trend that is going on in Nigeria in terms of recruitment. The reason we keep having issues of incompetence, ministers are dropped after 6 months, 1 year, is because in the placement, and at the state level too, in the placement of those who are appointed as ministers and commissioners, you find people given wrong positions. And I think our presidents and governors need to look at this again. At the point of hiring, for instance, if you become a governor and you want to hire people from the local governments and the states, as the case may be, whether you are a president, you want to get people from, you want to appoint a minister from a state. If you are to consult stakeholders from that state, maybe you need this person to come handle this ministry for you. Why not request specifically from someone with that competence? And if that is not happening, though, if you are going to do what is called a compensation, political compensation, or perhaps those who were with you during the campaigns and you want to compensate them, they all have their competencies. They know their areas of specialization. You know them. You have their CVs. So why not appoint them according to their strengths, their areas of strength? Now, this has been going on. People are given wrong portfolios, and they in turn, we accuse them. The person who hired them is the first to be disappointed, and he rejigs the cabinet, which is fashionable in Nigeria. Now, other people are warming up. Once the cabinet reshuffle, the drums of cabinet reshuffle are on, you find people beginning to warm up.
That's their CV.
That it's my opportunity now to go and have a bite on the national cake. So this shouldn't be happening. If you give me a ministry and I find that is not my area of competence, I will complain to the president. I will meet him privately or the governor and say, sir, this area is not my area. I request that you kindly reassign me. And if we do this issue of people being sacked after less than a year or a year plus will not be there. And if the president refuses, in other climes, people resign. But because politics has been made beautiful in this country, because people want to accumulate wealth for themselves, no one wants to resign. They stay there, even if they are not performing because they have been assigned the wrong ministry. They remain there.
Very well. Mr. Agwa, when he mentioned that, the nomination of the ministers in the first batch, which the president nominated and sent to the Senate, no portfolios were assigned, like he stated. And afterwards, the president just assigned portfolios, some which Nigerians had predicted, and some were way out of what they predicted. Now, that leads us to the sacked ministers, 5 of them. They are the Minister of Women Affairs, that of Tourism, Education, Housing and Urban Development, and Minister of Youth Development. The performance indicators, did they have a proper rating in terms of performing within the mandate of the ministries to guarantee their sacking?
Well, you see, this is debatable. I don't want to fault President Tinubu's judgment, but I don't want to entirely agree that the sacked ministers were sacked on account of incompetence. You see, it's very difficult to situate these things. You don't just tell people, give people information and expect them to premise some sound judgment or logic around it. You say Nigerians gave you feedback, these people are not doing well. Now, the same Nigerians are not in a position to also give you inputs into who you should appoint. Or maybe the same Nigerians did it, or whichever. See, I want to add something to what Terver said, and maybe a bit of, let me disrupt partially what he said.
That's the beauty of the conversation.
Yes, I think the crux of being in a portfolio is about leadership. Okay. It's about capacity to galvanize the people to move on with. You may not be, and I'm serious, you may not be an expert or somebody knowledgeable about a field, but you could have capacity, proven capacity, to be able to bring people together to achieve results. And I think that is, to me, that should be what should be key. That somebody is not a media practitioner, for instance, and is giving Ministry of Information. It depends on how sound you are in leadership. Leadership here means your capacity to know how to achieve that result. Because all along, we have seen experts in their proving fees also fail us. And failure is a factor of many things. Did President Tinubu really did he give enough support to these ministers? Were they not bringing initiative to the table enough, and others brought? Because I don't want to be controversial mentioning names. There are some 3-4 ministers that I feel have come back wrongly. But that's another level. I won't say it on telly. I mean, in the radio here. Yes. So, to me, the issue is about people that recruit these leaders should also take time to, I don't want to call it an exam. For instance, if I have 3 people I want as commissioner of health or minister of health, I can bring them to the table. I can get more people to talk to them so that I can pick what should be best. What the president has simply done is, okay, because look at the assignment of the portfolios. There's a particular minister that is assigned in an area that if we study and follow what Chief Akase is saying, from his primary school, from when he was born till he's made a minister, there's nothing that indicates he has a clue to the portfolio they have given him. But maybe they have given him because, who knows, he will be able, because there are a lot, you see, the knowledge space has grown now to a level that I bet you people can be magical even in areas they may not have core competence. So for me, like I will still repeat, though I'm a President Tinubu's man, I love him, I will still repeat that he's too political for me still in this appointment. He should simply just let us be. Let's see how this is rejigged. Yes, new blood has come. We expect the best from the new guys added to whatever was existing. Now, let's look at something here. That youth and sports, women affairs being dropped. If you sit down, actually, in fairness to you, those guys never actually brought something to the table from my observation, from what I feel and I see, because these are ministries that you can write your name in gold, not. Because what does it take to work with women? What does it take to create activities or things that can, because for instance, if President Tinubu brings up an agric policy, it is expected of you as a women affairs minister to see how you can trickle that policy to incorporate women and things like that. So I've said a lot of things mixed up here and there, but the summary is, let's not overemphasize this expertise, in quote, this expertise team. Because I bet I can drive you safely to Lagos the same way that expert driver that was trained in New York at the World Driving School or wherever can drive you. So in these things, let us factor that people also know lots of things.
Yes.
What I will not want compromise is those technical bits. People should sit on them, should be made up of the expert is talking. But in terms of leadership, once somebody has proven he can move with people, he can influence, he can get results, he's sharp. Do you know that a lot of people that bring about policies in different sectors are not even people in those sectors? I'm told somebody that brought a lot of reforms in the health sector, if I thought there were many, during President Tinubu was one man who was a teacher somewhere, things like that. But this doesn't change what he's saying is also, but I want these two positions seen together. We need to find an average between expertise and who we deal with.
Very well. Matching people according to their expertise, like you stated, it's quite unheard of to see that a lawyer is assigned Minister of Health, or a health person is assigned the Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
It has happened in this country. Do you know that Professor Yowesi Hai was Minister of State Health?
Okay.
Minister of State Health.
And
he wasn't going to give people injection or carry stethoscope and test people in the... No.
Yeah. In any case, that is established. Now, Mr. Akase, when you mentioned that, for instance, the Minister of Education, the sacked Minister of Education, Tahir Mamman, is a lawyer, a senior advocate of Nigeria.
Yes.
And when he came on board, ASU began agitations of renegotiation of issues 2009. Did the minister perform to advance the education sector as a lawyer? Was his placement correct in education? Did he perform?
It's one of the things I'm saying, So now you can understand someone who if he sees, if you tell him about curriculum,
yes,
it will sound strange to him. Because if you see, at the table of the ministries, where a minister sits with his permanent secretaries and directors and other senior staff, technical issues are discussed. Now, yes, you may be brilliant, you may be competent in many aspects, but if you are not, and they bring up issues, they will have to explain those issues to you over and over for you to understand. The jargons may be even strange to you. Implementation of policies. Because sometimes those who are at the head, who are the helm of affairs, do not even comprehend the terminologies in that area. This is the truth. So it's an aspect that we should not discard. Whether we like it or not, competence is very important. Because if you understand what an area is, it will take less time for your team. Look at the current Minister of Works, former governor of Benue State.
Yes.
He's an engineer.
An engineer.
So if you come to him as a contractor and you are speaking those jargons, you want to confuse him, he knows what you are saying. You cannot confuse him. If he gives you a contract and you write certain things there, he takes a look at it. Of course, his team is going to look at that before they bring to him. He will also understand if his team is misleading him. Because sometimes some directors will go connive with contractors, and permanent secretaries may go connive with some contractors, write certain things, inflate contracts, and bring to you. And as the minister, you may not know it if you do not understand the specifics of that area. So it is also very important that we look at the issue of competence. People assigned portfolios where they have strength, where they have training. Because if now you asked me about the sacked minister of
education.
Education.
Yes.
I think Professor Tahir ran into troubled waters, which he boiled by himself. That policy of children under 18,
Yes.
not being allowed to take UMTE.
Yes.
That's the JAM exam.
Very well.
That was one of the policies that were going to run the Tinubu administration into real trouble, because there was a nationwide outcry.
Yes.
People condemned that policy. That okay, so if my child is of university age, but because there is a policy in Nigeria that she should not go to the university until he attains the age of 18, then I will have to wait as a parent until that child attains the age of 18. It was one of the policies that I'm sure people who are close to President Tinubu told him, if you do not relieve this man of his appointment, he is one of the very ministers who will cause your administration a lot of pains. So I am not surprised that he was relieved of his appointment, because now that again goes back to the issue of competence. If this man were a professor, that means he's a teacher. You must have, even if you studied whatever and you are in the university teaching, the university encourages you to go take some PG courses in education, where you will understand the terminologies of education. And for you to rise the rank of a professor, you should understand.
He is actually a professor, but a professor of law, a senior advocate of Nigeria. So,
I don't know.
I think we are all saying the same.
I don't know. I don't know when that happened, but
yes,
he truly got policies wrongly, and that cost him some problems.
Let me be controversial first.
I like the controversy.
Incidentally, I love the policy of the 18-year stuff. But
okay.
Let me stop at that, because most Nigerians didn't like it. So somebody may off the radio now that I am old school. Listen, what Terver is saying is correct.
Yes.
I am only trying to establish the fact that we cannot lose sight. Let me tell you, somebody can give you a job and mess you up and frustrate you. Do you know that at a point in this country, we had a renowned academic, Yochia Ayu, as Minister of Education, ASU was on strike for almost a year. I think I was affected in that strike too. Listen, there are a lot of issues to this. And something like ASU, in particular, that she tried to mention in the passing, these are nagging problems that if you want to face and resolve this ASU thing that government committed to, another serious layer of big economic issue will happen. Even though, yeah, we are supposed to resolve that issue. I think the point here is key. President Bola Tinubu, I'm appealing to you, moving forward, do us Nigerians a favor. Once in a while, through your offices, now that you have opened a software or a template or an app or something that people go and are assessing these ministers, let us be tracking these ministers. Somebody should be telling us how they are doing as Nigerians are collecting this. Since you have decided to run an open government, you love us, you want the citizens to know exactly. You have even listened to our yearnings to drop some ministers. Although I'm not sure we encourage you to add ministers, though. But that's the byway. So I think by and large, yes, round peg, is it round peg in round hole, square
yes.
peg in square? That should be encouraged. But I want us to understand and establish a fact that overall, capacity to interpret policy and drive with it is what ministers, people who hold offices, understand. I want to believe, like my experienced brother Terver here, all he needed in his public career, which he did well, was understand that thinking of the government. Then you go and break it down how you will walk it through. So I think that capacity is what, maybe when the ministers are doing a retreat, maybe when you appoint ministers, try to send them on some course. It could be 1 week. Just put them through some refresher. Because you need to understand that if the president say, I want to improve agriculture by doing A, B, C, D, E, it is not the same president that will come and break it down for you, who you should meet to help you do this. Because I will simply know that, oh, I'm supposed to meet Terver or not, or this person, and then I begin to move on in that. So to me, that is the skill or the competence that is key, more key than whether a doctor is made a commissioner of health or a doctor is made a minister or so. But we are all saying the same things. I'm only emphasizing that let's not lose sight that we may lock out human resource, we may lock up some intelligent guy off simply because, oh, he studied Yoruba or he studied TIF, and there's nowhere we can place him, and as such, he will just be in the pool.
Okay, we're due to start taking calls, but that will be after a short breather. Kindly stay tuned, dear listener. Glad to know you are still staying with us, dear listener. Welcome back from that short break. The line to call on the program is 0814-335-9292. 0814-335-9292. Once you connect with us, we would like to know your full name and where you're calling from. Then make your submission. Please keep it very brief and be civil in your engagement. Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Perspectives. We lost connection with our caller already. Okay. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Nathaniel.
Thank you for joining us on Perspectives.
Good morning to Terver Akase and other co-panelists. Yes, don't over James from Agwa, local government of Benue.
All right, don't over James. Go ahead and speak to us. Your network seems to be breaking. Maybe you want to change your position.
Thank you so much. You see, cabinet has been reshuffled, but for me, I'm not a prophet of doom, but I see no changes. I see it as a game for presidents and even governors to do in order to reach everybody that works for them during the campaign. You know, after a year or 6 months, they will be shuffled so that those that were not on board will come on board and enjoy what they planted during campaign. You see, President Tinubu has brought a lot of policies that have published this country, and I think anybody that is coming on board that thinks to, go contrary to his policies will be showing the way out. And if he is still following his policies, Nigerians will continue to suffer. And for us who are downtrodden, so to say, not to our own benefit. So that's my test. Thank you so much.
James, thank you very much. Thank you for calling in. James believes that the reshuffle is just to make new people to come on board and benefit. But anyway, he has given a charge to the president too. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good to have you join us on Perspectives.
I greet all the guests in the studio.
Warm greetings to you.
Okay. My name is Mike Gadi. I'm calling from Gadi Layout.
Very well, Gadi. Good.
You see that from what you started with, you said that the cabinet was shuffled as a result of Nigerians clamoring for bad governance. This is not a court of the people that are ruling us, as in the court of the ministers, but it's rather a reshufflement. So the cost of governance still remains the same. So if you say these people were reshuffled because of the cost of governance, there's no difference. It's just like bringing new people on board because the same cost of governance still exists. So on that note, I don't see that as a yardstick to come and tell Nigerians that because of you clamored for the cost of governance, we have reshuffled the cabinet or the ministers.
Hello, Michael, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Sir.
Anyway, the presidency did not say the reshuffle was due to reduction in cost of governance. But as I yesterday, which we are yet to get there in our discussion, but we'll certainly get there, it announced some measures for cutting down cost of governance. So maybe you want to get that clear.
Okay. All right. On that note, and secondly, my uncle Akase said that Tinubu is one good person on the other side, where at least he's talking to Nigerians. He comes, at least when there is problem, he comes and talk. Nigerians don't want talk. We want actions.
Okay.
Yes, we are crying that we are hungry, and you come to tell us that hungry will finish. But don't worry, hungry will finish. No, it's not that.
Okay, Michael, thank you for your submission. Yes. Thank you. I think even thank you very much for calling in. He also said it should be beyond rhetorics when he mentioned that he's good at addressing people, but it should be beyond the rhetoric. So he stated that clearly.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good to have you join us on the program.
Thank you very much. My name is Orahi Theophilus from Wurukum.
Okay.
Yes, I want to contribute on the topic of discourse today.
Very well. Go ahead, please.
Mr. Nathaniel Nongu, the long-awaited cabinet reshuffle is really laughable.
How?
If the president said the cabinet reshuffle is based on people's assessment on the sack ministers, the question now is this: what is the people's assessment on the president himself, who is the Minister of Petroleum? When we all know that fuel is the major reason why Nigerians are getting impoverished day by day, he should first of all relieve himself as the Minister of Petroleum before waving the big stick on other ministers. Look at the Minister of Power. The national grid has been collapsed multiple times in just a month. Is this minister not assessed? Look at the Minister of State for Defense, Matawale, who is publicly accused of sponsoring Boko Haram and banditry in the country. Is he not assessed? The Minister of Sports,
anyway,
John
that accusation may just be a mere allegation, subject to be proven. Okay. So we do not want to dive into that anyway.
Okay. Look at John Enno, who under his leadership, sports in Nigeria have been bedeviled with some controversies. Example, the last Olympics, Nigeria got nothing from the Olympics, and bad enough, some medal hopes. The names were removed as participants in that competition, and Nigeria got nothing out of the competition. Look at the Libya saga that just happened recently.
Okay.
So, just like Sam Agwa said, the president is more politically conscious than the economic aspect of governance, which is the only way that can help Nigerians. And to me, these ministers who are sacked are ministers who don't have a strong bearing in the political space.
Okay.
Else,
most
ministers should have been sacked.
Thank you. Thank you very much for calling in. That's your opinion. But John, we should let you know that has been reassigned from the Ministry of Sports. And of course, the ministry even scrapped and its functions given to another commission. But we'll get to that certainly in our analysis here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us.
My name is Matthew Agwa. I'm calling from International Market Research.
All right, Matthew Agwa. Good to have you. Go ahead, please. All right.
I I think that is not the solution to our problem.
Okay, the cabinet reshuffle.
Cabinet,
Okay.
in terms of politicians, they may benefit. Those that are coming in, they may benefit. But if we take a look at the past administration, they introduced policies like grant, policies like the parities that even now is coming. Nobody is knowing who and whom is benefiting. As I speak to you, I did not even benefit a mudu of rice. So if the government begin to look for policies that may help, the past administration introduced grants, introduced other things way around. So they should look for the common man on street. That is what we are after. It's not to say and reshuffle and whatever. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matthew, for calling in. Matthew says the reshuffle is not the problem. The government should provide grants. Anyway, there are ministries responsible for that. We hope that they should address that concern. Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Perspectives.
My name is Fiase. So, calling from Makodi here.
Okay, which part of Makodi, Fiase Mutum?
Yeah, I'm calling from Nyole out here.
Very well. Good to have you. Please, we are listening
Good morning,
to you.
baby. And
Good morning, Fiase.
Thank you. It's laughable. Why do I say so? You see, when you look at the reshufflement, it's quite funny. It's quite funny in the sense that I always wish the politicians to take a cue from the academics, where people are given appointment or they are employed on the basis of qualification and specialty. They may have said something about that, but what is going on now is just the president is focused on his political arrangement. That is all. That is just all. Give a spray of the ministers. Some have been given specialty, have been given appointments in their area of specialization, but others have not. And that is a big problem. So how will you solve the issue of the country when the citizens are unable to see the dividends of democracy? How would they feel that they have leaders? That is on one hand. On the other hand is that the president's policies are not in line with the current reality. That is where Nigerians are crying. The president should look deep on this issue of fuel subsidy and address and bring in modalities that will help the country move. As it is now, people who are down the poverty line is much. The issue of taxation is much in the country. When I don't know who are part of the economic team of this country, when you know that the economy is bad and the level Nigerians are living is not good, you'd look deep and reduce the issue of taxation.
Okay.
Tax is killing this country. Let the president do something. Let the president do something. Nigerians are crying too
Thank you,
much.
Fiasamoto. Thank you. Thank you. Let the president do something. Nigerians are not breathing. Of course, we hope the reshuffle should make the president do something, like Fiase is requesting. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, we lost connection with you. 0814-335-9292. 0814-335-9292. The SMS line is 0912-699-9404. Welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Ojo James from Kansu.
Ojo James, kindly move away from your radio set or turn down its volume so we can hear you better, sir.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that it's not a matter of changing the ministers from their position. That is not the matter for Nigeria. There is a minister. What of the minister for power? Because they are increasing electricity, spoiling our line, what of a minister of petroleum? the head of state himself with his subordinates. Let them do something. It's not a matter of changing the minister.
Okay.
Because we are the ones voting in, and then punishing individuals, punishing us. Anyway, we put everything into prayer.
Okay.
I think 2027 is coming. Whether it's preparing, if nobody knows tomorrow. Because it's suffering individual and then population of Nigeria. We are suffering. And then it's changing minister. Is this the minister? Is this the problem of minister?
Okay.
I told us that we open borders. Up to today, nobody see anything.
Okay, James Ojo. So, but don't you think about the changing of ministers is to bring in fresh blood that will change some of the policy directions that you say are affecting the citizens?
Which days are those ministers going to do the policy that will change, they bring food to the table? Or farm? Are they going to farm and then give a population for this thing? Is the head of state himself supposed to change himself or do something? It's not a matter of minister.
Okay, James.
We are not talking about minister. Minister is a human being like myself.
Thank you very much.
Population are hungry. We are hungry. That's what we are saying.
Thank you very much for calling. We appreciate you. For the president, of course, until 2027 ballot, where he's not due to be changed. He will not be reshuffled. There is no provision for reshuffling the president until 2027 comes for purpose of clarity. Hello, good morning. Good morning to you and welcome to Perspectives.
Good morning, Mr. Nathaniel.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you very much. I am Engineer Sunday Agwa. I'm calling from Norbank, Makodi.
Very well. Good to have you,
yes.
Sunday.
Yes, I appreciate your guests in the studio. They have been so eloquent and they actually did justice to the topic. Having said that, I, on my own, I will call for patience with the president. Let's give him the first turn and see whether his policies will not manifest or are good. Then we'll begin to condemn. Cabinet reshuffle, like Terver Akase has said, it is good to put professionals in their places, but not just all professionals that are professionals. Some can be professional, but they may not even know. I think Nigerians forget too quickly. It's not even President Buhari, Tinubu that removed the parent subsidy. He only made the pronouncement. The past government removed it. They didn't provide budget allocation for it. They're only waiting. Everybody was afraid to remove it. This man took a bold step. I warned you what was happening during the subsidy. So what I'm trying to say is that let's be patient. Yeah.
You have made your points. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much. It's all right.
Yeah, let's not, when you call in, make your submissions in general sense. We wouldn't want you to come across as defending the president on whatever front. Yeah, just speak in general sense to make so we can make sense of it. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Morning to you.
Good morning.
Good to have you join us.
Yes, my name is Peter. I'm calling from High Level.
Very well, Peter. We are listening to you.
Okay, my advice to Mr. President is that what we need now is supposed to review the policy on ground that people are suffering, not cabinet resolve that's our problem this time. Because he has not gone to the government, he removed the fuel subsidy, people are suffering. So what we need is to put policy in place before he remove the subsidy, but now they have not done that now that people are suffering. Supposed to set the committee so that they will review his policy again.
Of course, we hope the president should also have a feedback to review his policies and not just cabinet reshuffle, as Nigerians are saying. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you for joining us.
My name is Jairus Otumala. I call now from High Level here.
Good to have you, Jairus.
I did meet my friend Terver Akase.
Thank you very much, Jairus.
All this is grammar, all not talk.
Only Terver Akase is your friend. The other panelist, Agwa, is not your friend. And Nathaniel is not your friend.
Wow, Gawa is attacking me now. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Everybody I greet you now, all for studio.
Very well.
All of now my friends.
Good.
You see, ba, minister, no minister, no concern you. How the noodle of Gary go come down to 200 naira? Everything they look for. How me farmer, my great farmer inside studio there, how he go freely go farm the day they
Hello, Jairus. Okay.
Please, whether a minister, not be minister, that is no concern. One former, there's one medical doctor in those days who was a minister of petroleum. And I forget all those ones. There is no concern us. We are hungry. We are dying. We are hungry. We are dying. Please, Terver Akase, carry your grandma. Go meet the guy there for Abuja. Make him change everything. Make the middle of Gary come down. Make the transport come down. Make the fuel come down. I beg.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jairus, for calling in. Thank you, Mr. Terver Akase. You speak in the media, so you have all the platforms, so the president can hear you. Jairus is requesting you.
This is one of them. This program is
just a moment. Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Nathaniel.
Good to have you join us.
Yes, my regards to Terver Akase and Agwa in the studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, I enjoy everything you were saying.
Thank you so much.
This issue of...
May we know your name? And where
okay, sorry. My name is Justin with the Aturuma.
I'm
calling you behind my residence, behind Commissioner's quarters here.
Good, Justin. Go ahead, please.
Yes, you see, this issue of cabinet reshuffle, as all the callers are saying, the major thing there is this, if the president is in charge of the petroleum, subsectoral space, he should be able to address the issue of these refineries that are no longer working. And then you're talking about compressed natural gas that he has, talked about, in his bid to reduce the cost of transportation. A lot of things people are complaining now is linked to this issue of petroleum. If he can do something about it, that is directly what he's a minister for petroleum as it is. So he should listen to what Nigerians are saying. Fix these refineries, let the cost of fuel come down so that people can be able to move around and do everything they want to do. It will also bring down the cost of other items. So that is my little contribution. Thank you so much.
We appreciate you. Have a great day too, Justin. Thank you for calling in. All right, we'll pause for a while. Let me come back to you, and I'll begin with you, Mr. Akase. You have listened to the callers. What sense do you make of what they are saying? As far as Nigerians are concerned, it's about review of policies and not cabinet reshuffle.
Wonderful contributions, wonderful calls from Nigerians, and they are sincere, they are honest in all what they have said. You can't disagree with these views, because the important thing is, like Sam said, how do the policies translate into how Nigerians can feel the policies. Now, Mike Gadi spoke about cost of governance. Yesterday I read, or was it this morning? I read a story where the presidency, the federal government in general, is saying that ministers have been directed to be using to reduce the number of their vehicles to 3.
Yes.
But how possible is that? And how does that even affect the cost of governance? Because ministers...
Very marginal.
It's marginal.
Insignificant.
We shouldn't even be told.
Yes.
That should be an in-house talk. Call ministers and tell them, look. But even if you... Now, what about... If you look at the presidency, it's very huge. The money that is spent on maintaining the presidency, it's huge. But that we can understand that. Now, Mr. President, the point the last caller, is it? Yes.
Yes.
Aturuma talked about that Mr. President is the Minister of Petroleum. So, if we are failing in that regard, the buck stops at this table. So he should. I have been speaking about this Dangote and NPCL saga. Mr. President has the big stick. He is the Minister of Petroleum. Call NNPCL to order. Bring NNPCL and Dangote and look at this issue and resolve it. If you are deregulating, deregulate. Let us know that Nigeria is no longer regulating petroleum products. Because, like I said the other time, you cannot be regulating and still imposing prices of petroleum products.
Yeah.
Especially
that is not the regulation.
For Dangote, who seems to be a private investor.
Yesterday we read that Dangote is now to be selling products directly to marketers. That is beautiful. So, but the federal government cannot be imposing prices on the marketers. If you want to allow for free market, if you want to guarantee free market, they allow free market. That is deregulation. Yeah. So that the market forces will determine the prices. But if you do not do that, you are saying you have deregulated. I don't think it's deregulation. The other person talked about, Matthew Agwa, I think, talked about palliatives. Beautiful policy by Mr. President. Sending a lot of food items and other materials and money, 5 billion to each state, with a lot of grains, a lot of other items to states and local governments, but particularly states. Beautiful. But how has that impacted on the people of Nigeria? Many state governments have taken custody of those materials and hoarded them. The other day I read a story in Makodi here that food items are still being stored at the Apereko Stadium many months after the palliatives were sent to Makodi through the state government. And if that, I expected the state government to have acted swiftly when this news was on social media everywhere. Because the people, if the palliatives are sent for the people, why wait till December? The mouth in October is not different from the mouth in December. The hunger in October is not different from the hunger in December. Give the people the palliatives. Buy more and add to what Mr. President has done. That's how it is done. A lot of money is coming to the states. That is why yesterday Enugu State approved, the state governor of Enugu approved 80,000 naira minimum wage. 80,000. Federal government has given 70,000. Enugu says we will pay 80,000. Many other states have given 75, 72. Lagos 85,000.
Yes,
Rivers 85,000. Oh, well, those ones are big states. But Enugu is at the same status with states like Benue and Kogi. They received the same amount of allocation. So this issue of, I think the topic is on federal government. We should also look at the subnationals, because the pain is in the states and local governments. And that is why allocation has increased by almost 400% since June last year, when subsidy was removed. That is a beautiful thing, even though the pain are much. But President Tinubu said he is sending more money to states and local governments to help him cushion the pain, the impact of the subsidy removal. So when we focus on the federal government, we must also look at the subnationals like states and local governments, since we don't have regional governments at the moment. Because the allocation is huge, and we should begin to see the impact of the voluminous money that is coming into the states now. So as much as we agree that the federal government is the policy driver, states are autonomous as well. Local governments now have autonomy. So we should begin to see the effects of this. That's my take on the calls, which are beautiful calls.
Okay, Mr. Agwa. So now, the subnationals and the federal government, how can they effectively collaborate to ensure that the policies so far put in place trickle down to have a positive effect on the citizens?
Well, I think significantly there have been collaborations. If you notice, though we don't have a regional government, most regions are constituting themselves into blocks. Like the Southwest governors are trying to come up with a common template on agriculture, which should be what maybe other regions too needs to put together. Because if 5, 6, 7 states in a region come together and chart a common direction, it is going to have so much multiplier impact on how citizens bounce back. I think for the states, Nat, this point is very important, and I think the 36 state governors and Abuja need to listen to this. Can the subnationals begin to carry on and operate as if they are country? Begin to see how you can trigger, you can engineer production or the processes that will make meaning to that ordinary citizen. Do you know that while we are all governed by this macro physical, macro monetary, whatever you hear about the big stuff, there is a way, if there's a trickle effect at the 36 subnationals at the same time, it will impact on the macro. What am I saying? State governors should be devised more practical ways. So if there is that competition, you will see that Nasarawa, Jigawa, everybody will, and before you know what is happening, it will be as if there's some change taking place in that space. So I think this is very important, because we cannot rely on the fact that, okay, the federal government is there because the Naira is not strong and that. Now, there is also another perspective that is very key. This thing we are calling agriculture, let me be frank, if there is anything state governments will do, maybe immediately moving forward, to transform agriculture in their various areas, at the local government system should be made to drive basically as if they are doing 70% agriculture. Because the shit we are in calls for that food. Because remember, until we start having intervene, there will be a program to check. Maybe every other month, some bulk sale is made. You use your NIN, or you use, in fact, at that level of local government, it's even very easy. We'll just adopt a council ward approach, adopt a polling booth approach, so that in some way, if a 10 kg of something is reaching a family at X cost, because the local government should be involved in taking food that is brought to the markets and ensuring that there is something in the food banks. Because you asked about the states, what the states can do. But you know, generally, there were a lot of callers that made various points that let me touch on briefly, Nat.
Yes.
I don't think it will be fair to say President Tinubu should stop talking to us. He's being verbose. He should act. Let's respect that at least he comes and talks to us. I don't want us to get angry in our hunger or in our poverty to just discard the fact, because we had a president that at some time when they were killing Benue people, and the president wasn't even aware whether the Inspector General even came to Benue. I remember Terver used to talk about that on television a lot. So to have a president that at least is engaging, let's commend it and try to see how there could be improvements. Now, somebody mentioned compensation system. There's nothing wrong politically in compensation if competence will be factored. So let's not lose sight that somebody worked for you, has been impacting, is valuable, and shouldn't have opportunity to play. All this is because, you know, once you are very hungry, you are in very bad shape, you tend to see everything. Why will I be there and not consider my classmates, my friends, my neighbors? But the point should be merit, should be competence. And I think there is a consensus on this reshufflement. And I think the consensus is Nigerians are telling Mr. President, stop touting this idea of rejig, cabinet. You know, we are tired of cabinet. And I think that has been our position here largely too. And I want to not take this opportunity because these issues connect. Now, do you know that the most strongest system in the world is the political system? It is stronger than the economic system because it detects almost everything that happens. There's a trend in this country, and I'm appealing to President Tinubu, please don't slide Nigeria into a one-party state. There's a trend going on that, this over-politicization, over-consciousness of the future, how the future political things will play. Remember, by the time you scatter everyone, you dislocate everybody because we want to do a one-party state, we don't know that these things impact the economy because it makes people have zero patriotism. It makes people that spirit of feeling they should be able to air their views or push some agenda for. They will just become so lackadaisical. And these things affect even the very productive processes we are encouraging because the trend now is 2027. And I make bold to say, please, Nigeria shouldn't be a one-party state. Mr. President, help us. You may say, how is Mr. President trying to encourage one-party state? I will leave it at that level.
It's okay. Let's take some messages before we come back. This one says, this is in our WhatsApp box. President Tinubu's cabinet reshuffle is a welcome development. At least he is better than Buhari in terms of cabinet reshuffle. But my concern is that President Bola Tinubu had reiterated his stance that the removal of fuel subsidy has come to stay. What then are the policies initiated by his administration to cushion the hardship caused by this fuel subsidy removal? The huge monies given to the states and local governments, including the palliatives, are not reaching out to the average Nigerians. TSC. Ange. Okay, TSC. Unfortunately, you didn't put a location. The same concern of the palliatives not reaching the people as you both stated. Good morning to you and the guests. With all due respect, no minister has anything positive to talk about. The Tinubu-led administration behaves as one on punitive expedition. Nigerians have been subjected to the worst inhuman treatment since 1960. Oh, wow. That's your opinion.
And it's sweeping.
It's sweeping. And instead of doing everything within its power to ameliorate the suffering of Nigerians, the government is busy churning out economic policies geared towards asphyxiating the people. Mr. President, sir, your achievements are visible to the blind and audible to the deaf. Hence, they need no media publicity. The hunger, hopelessness, agony, misery, and other anti-people policies of your administration are spreading like wildfire throughout the length and breadth of the country. Ko Ephraim from Welfare Quarters in Makudi. So strong a point. Thank you for your opinion. Anyway, this one says, good morning, presenter and the guest. If I am minister, I may never travel or resign because I can never go to Sokoto, Borono, and Imo with just 3 convoy. Thanks. Bello Musa. Bello Musa from North Bank. Okay, good morning. I am Miss Faustina from Wadata. I sincerely appreciate Terver Akase. I agree with everything he said. Agwa. Faustina, thank you anyway. This one says, just greeting my friend Akase, Oga Levinus from Agbe. I lost his contact. It's okay. Levinus, thank you. Your message is conveyed. Thank you for sending in. Okay, some more calls, a few, before we come back to you, the guest. Good morning.
Yes, Nathaniel, sorry to call back. Don't worry, James. I won't take your time. I'm from Agwa.
Please.
You see, as for my own assessment, the Minister for Petroleum has failed woefully. So that ministry should be reshuffled. It should be given to another person. Because subsidy has been removed, a lot of money has been recovered, and no old refinery has been repaired, no one has been constructed. Prices of petroleum are skyrocketing, and we are still suffering in Nigeria concerning the removal. So he should be reshuffled. He should give it to another person.
Thank you, Don. Thank you. All right. Thank you. We will appreciate if you who have called already will allow the those who are yet to have a voice to speak briefly. So, good morning.
Good
morning, Nathaniel.
Kindly move away from your radio, sir, or turn down its volume.
Are you hearing me now?
Very well. We can hear you better.
Thank you.
But your radio
Thank
is
you.
still close by. If you turn down the volume, it will be very good, sir.
Okay.
Thank you. Could you speak on?
It's okay. Nathaniel.
Okay, okay. What's the full name?
Nathaniel.
Okay, Nathaniel. From where?
Nyema.
Okay, thank you, okay, Nathaniel.
Please, Nathaniel, I beg. I can tell. Anyhow, I hear that's palliative. We old people, and I hear the time when they measure where people will come carry this. This one will come next tomorrow. This one will come today. Which time we old people? Whether punitive black or I don't know, whether punitive red or I don't know, whether punitive yellow, I don't know. We old people, which day our own be? Thank you, sir. That's my problem, because hungry they kill us inside the room here.
Oh, thank you, sir, for calling.
I know that you. I'm not talking about Tinubu or all that, but the little one we have got in Benue, let us reach old people.
Okay.
We are doing nothing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. We help you come. Thank you. The authorities are listening. We hope that the palliatives for old people should get to them. Of course.
Yeah, my name is Jonathan Ichawe.
Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Nathaniel. Good morning, Samagwa. Good morning, Terver.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
I thank you, people.
Sir, are you reaching us from where?
From North Bank.
Okay,
my
sir.
My name is Jonathan Ichawe from North Bank.
Very well, sir.
Well, let me first start by disagreeing with Samagwa. Professionals, experienced professionals, question of it is management is not correct. That is a very dangerous policy that you go to a ministry, whether you know anything about that place or not. It is wrong. It's a very dangerous policy. Please, don't advocate it anywhere again. I know you have confessed that you are Tinubu's man. So maybe I can forgive you small many of the things you have said.
Okay, sir.
Yes. And like many other persons have said, Tinubu should be the first person to resign as Minister of Petroleum. Like Terver said, as the minister, it took him how long? Whether he has settled the dispute between Dangote and the NNPCL. That is our cash cow. It does. We will heave a sigh of relief. Insecurity. If we just make sure that our farmers go back to their land and farm without Fulanis, sorry, you say I should not call their names. And very helpful.
Okay.
The second one he will do is reverse the policy on floating the naira. Reverse that policy. It is wrong. Even America doesn't do that. You can't just float the naira and let it, when you don't manufacture anything.
Thank you, sir.
And then maybe the third thing is that he must fix the power sector, electricity supply. It's a shame that after how many years of independence, with vast water bodies, these are the things you look on. He's a politician. So reshuffling our cabinet is to give other politicians a chance. I remember. So despite the fact I was developing, he was not giving politicians contracts and jobs, which they wouldn't do.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nathaniel. I know you want me to say.
Thank you so much. Well, I appreciate it. You have taken your time to make your points. One more call, and when we come back, we'll speak on issues and then draw conclusions. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you speak up?
Morning.
Thank you. I'm Yajagodin from Bajimba.
Good. Yeah, go ahead.
For me, reshufflement of governance and leadership is paramount. The cabinet surface or reshufflement is uncalled for me because we have been doing this for a long period of time, but there is no positive result. But first and foremost, our problem started when our president failed to man the Minister of Petroleum. Because when they are doing wrong, there's nobody to accuse them, like the issue that is going on now. As a president, as a petroleum minister, who can question him? It's because we monetize all those things. Secondly, it is because the monetization of our public policies that is making even our minister refuse to use a teamwork strategy as a collective ideas in order to achieve their portfolio objectives. And thirdly, the issue of insecurity in our rural areas. If you go to my local government, Guma now, I don't mean that insecurity is not come and stay in our local government. Our farmers with their food sufficiently without putting their minds on government. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you, Nyajo Godwin. I appreciate you for calling in. And that will be the last call we'll take on today's edition. And back to you. I'd like to begin with you, Mr. Akase. Amongst the renamed and some few scrapped ministries, a new ministry of regional development has been created or renamed from growth. And of course, it is mandated to oversee the commissions. North Central does not have a development commission. Would that be inclusive?
The other day, I described that new ministry as a shadow federal government.
Okay.
Now, before any other thing, let me call for the establishment of the North Central Development Commission. It's the only region now without a commission for development. And the North Central has been devastated. The North Central states, especially Benue, Plateau and Plateau, and to some extent, Southern Nasarawa, have been under severe attacks for years now, more than 10 years now. Benue and Plateau, the worst hit. So if you are talking about North Central Development Commission, it should have been one of the first to be created after the Northeast. The next region to have a commission should have been the North Central. Look at our farmers. The food basket of this country, Benue, is under threat. The food basket is running the risk of becoming empty. Look at Sankra, which is the food basket of Benue State, and by extension, the yam basket of Nigeria is under threat because the farmers there can no longer go to work. So the North Central needs that commission like yesterday. And the federal government, Mr. President, should expedite action on establishing the North Central Development Commission. That ministry is big. The budget will run into billions, hundreds of billions from next year.
In fact, to interrupt you briefly, just yesterday the Senate approved 15% of annual, but we made provision that subsequently 15% of annual budget should be for regional funding attributed to that new ministry.
Let's see how that plays out. Let's hope that the ministry will be able to cope with the enormous task assigned to it. I would not be surprised if 4 more ministers of state are appointed
under that ministry.
Okay. Because it's going, and many permanent secretaries. It's going to be it's the biggest, the largest ministry as it were now. And so, but let me quickly comment on some of the things Elder Chave talked about insecurity.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Briefly, because
that is where we must get it right. Mr. President is doing well in that regard, but a lot more needs to be done. Our people are in the bushes. Our people have lost almost everything. So insecurity should be tackled as quickly as possible. And Elder Okeke talked about palliatives. State governors should please release the palliatives. But the issue of palliatives should not even have been the issue. Nigeria doesn't need handouts. Nigerians don't need handouts. If refinery and other products. So this issue of importation, this issue of subsidy wouldn't be there, because oil will be Nigeria will be producing it, so will be refining its oil. So the issue of importation of oil won't be there. So we have to go back there. We have to, if we must get it right, we have to go back to the issue of refineries, so that this palliative talk, how many times can you sustain palliatives? How long can you sustain it? It's not sustainable. If you send trucks of palliatives today, in the next 1 month, they have been exhausted, then you are sending more trucks. No country runs by handouts in that way. So Nigeria must rejig this. If we are talking about rejigging cabinets, we should rejig our priorities in terms of these things like palliatives.
Okay, Mr. Agwa, our time is no longer there. We'll be wrapping up in a few minutes from now. But one thing we'll talk about briefly is the Ministry of Livestock Development, how it will address the livestock challenges in the livestock sector, and of course, the insecurity that has bedeviled the country, some issues attributed to challenges of livestock management in the country.
Well, I am not a fan of livestock ministry. I would have loved to just see it as part of agri. But now that it has come and is staying, to fast track so that they can tap in on that. In terms of how it will respond to insecurity, I don't think I have any competence to discuss that, because for me, I'm just seeing a fraction of agri taken to be prioritized to increase food production, to see to it that things move better. And of course, I see it more also as a platform to support the pastoralist in trying to get the best from that sector. At the same time, those who are also not pastoralists can also be part of it. Like I am saying, states should fast track to have such agencies. So that's my comment on that. On the palliatives, I think it's important. A senior citizen mentioned something here.
Yes. How
they that are aged people find it difficult to access. I think going beyond that, I would like to appeal to state governments, or maybe the Benue state government, to create an office of the senior citizen. Maybe taking responsibility for people who may be above 70, they can define what constitutes that level of senior citizen, so that in situations like this, it will be very easy to target. And I want to correct something Akase said here. I don't know from where he got his source, but I have been seeing palliatives shared in the state. I have not gotten, maybe because I don't know where to go get, but I know there's somebody that is my neighbor that even 2 days ago told me he got some maize and some rice. So I think there is palliative distribution. But I want to say something. Nobody, I don't even think the federal government or the states know that palliative is the solution. Palliative is a first aid. Hunger, let us see how we serious level of operation. And if at all palliatives must be, states, the various subnationals should in the next 2 years have capacity so that the cost of procuring palliatives would not be much.
Okay.
Every state we have the capacity to hold on that capacity to.
Yeah, our time is wrapping up.
Okay,
we're fast running out of time.
Anyway, since you are running out of time, I have some 2 points to say, but I think
kindly wrap them up in 30 seconds.
Okay, it's on the issue of the minimum wage.
Very well.
Yeah, I understand some states paid 80, some like
85.
that. I want to advise states. Yes, minimum wage is 70. Don't just go and declare an 80,000 minimum wage or 90,000 if you know you cannot pay. And that appeal goes to the state government. I know people will not like to hear this, that I'm saying they should pay them exactly the 70. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
The fact that there's increased allocation to states, 300 to 400%, that money is also as useless as yesterday.
All right.
Because if you look at the way the economy has nosedived too, so any state, talk what you can pay within the threshold. Don't go below 70, but operate in a way that you will sustain this payment.
All right.
That is all I can say.
Mr. Akase, you are a sport enthusiast. I'll give you just 10 seconds. The Ministry of Sports Development has been scrapped. Will that stall the growth of the sporting sector, even though its assignment has been reassigned to National Sports Commission.
Youths are the most important part of any country. And any nation that doesn't recognize the importance of having a ministry for youths, that country needs to think deeply again. I do not support the scrapping of the Ministry of Sports and Youth. In fact, the Ministry of Sports can even be separated from youth. We should give priority to our youth because they are the people, they are the ones that produce what this country consumes. Go to every industry. The people you find there are young people who are producing the bread. Go to even the refineries. The people who work there are youths.
All right.
So youths should have their ministry. I don't support this. What commission? What? The commission's job is for promotion of staff and all of those things. So you are asking a commission now to go and be on the streets running affairs of the youths and sports and all of that? I don't think that is necessary.
No, I think I disagree with him.
Yes.
I believe that should be scrapped. Okay. Remember, when you mainstream issues of youth in policy across sectors, you actually don't need a Ministry of Youth.
Okay.
Because look at the NEL Fund. Look at so many interventions that situate the youth, even the agriculture. So I think by and large, why create a ministry for a population of 50 just because, okay, are you going to create a ministry for the old or that? So
Thank you. Gentlemen, we must end at this point. Terver Akase is a seasoned journalist, a former special advisor to the Benue State Governor on Media and Publicity, former Chief Press Secretary and a former governorship aspirant in the state. Mr. Sam Agwa is a former special advisor to the Benue State Governor on NEPAD and international relations, a seasoned economic analyst and a farmer. Gentlemen, I thank you very much indeed for coming on Perspectives today.
Thank you so much. Our pleasure.
Dear listener, join us next week Monday for a fresh edition of Perspectives. My name is Nathaniel Nongu. Have yourself a great weekend and goodbye.